Greetings and welcome to Cobweb Cottage. My name is Jonas and this is my lovely wife Lindsay.
Hello!
And we've been living now 5 years in this cozy cottage. And we would like to share our 5 best tips of what we learned living in a 500 square feet vintage home.
This cottage is actually the biggest place we've lived in our 10 years of marriage, if you can believe that. As a couple from California and from Sweden, we've moved around a lot and we even spent some time without a home. So when we first moved to New York 5 years ago and found this cozy little cottage for rent, it became a real sanctuary for us, our little fairy tale cottage, and it's brought us closer together as a couple. And to celebrate that, we are hosting a special sweepstakes. Yay!
So we would like to remind you that 3 winners will be able to pick a prize from our prize selection by playing Disney Emoji Blitz with us. So by downloading the game using our link and reach level 20, you'll have a chance to win either an art print from my Etsy shop or 2 bags of loose leaf tea from Tea Spectral.
And as a bonus, if we reach 100 downloads of Disney Emoji Blitz, we will be adding a grand prize winner that will be getting both of those prizes, plus a sold-out Cozy Cottage tea tin. Yay! So we invite you to share our link and play with your family, friends, and with us, and help us celebrate our 5-year cottage anniversary.
Cheers to that!
Cheers!
So let's start with our 5 tips that we learned from living in a 500 square feet cottage for 5 years. So tip number 1, think small.
But not too small. So when we first moved into the cottage, we didn't have any furniture, and we started looking for vintage and antique pieces because that's our personal style, and also worked out great because we realized quickly that vintage furniture is a lot smaller in size than modern day furniture anyway. We found all of our pieces by searching through Craigslist and estate sales and vintage flea markets, and eventually we furnished the cottage. One thing we learned for sure was to always bring a measuring tape with us so that we wouldn't end up bringing anything home that was too big for our little cottage.
Since antique furniture comes with a history, it makes each piece more interesting. They have a more unique look than modern pieces, which most likely are designed for a specific purpose rather than for the purpose of beauty. And we noticed by getting more antiques, we started to see more of our home and less of the objects in it.
In our search for furniture, I would type into Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace things like small bedroom set or small side table, and sometimes a search would pop up and I would be like, oh, that looks perfect. And then once I clicked and made the picture bigger, I realized it was a dollhouse furniture set. I don't even want to admit how many times that happened and that I actually really wanted the furniture.
And that's what we mean by think small but not too small. It would be so bizarre to get like a box in the mail with a whole set of furnitures.
That's only fit for a fairy.
Yeah. And for us it took a few years to find a form of completeness in our home. So don't expect to find each piece at once. Tip number 2. Think inside the box.
Oh.
In our home, the smallest spaces are the kitchen and the closet situation. So we constantly have to target those 2 areas the most. In our wardrobe, we have learned to save space by stacking most of the clothes vertically instead of in piles. In fact, it worked on more levels than just clothes. First, it seemed a little odd, but after we tried it, we noticed how all of a sudden we have better view of what we had. It is great to be able to see all the clothes at once when opening your drawer. It also made it much easier to realize what clothes you never really use, so you could donate them instead of holding on to something.
A great tip we like to do to save kitchen shelf space is to store things in jars and containers instead of in the original store packaging that is usually bigger than what's inside them. It doesn't seem like much, but it does make a big difference for our small kitchen, and it gives a better view of how much we have left, and so we don't accidentally buy double or more than what we need. The immediate result is a much cozier cottage look.
Tip number 3, declutter often.
And be willing to let go of things.
By living in a small cottage, we have learned that we don't really need as much things as we think we need, and the lack of space quickly gets very overwhelming when things start to pile up. So this tip is nothing we can escape for a very long time, to sometimes let go of things, sometimes even gifts.
The hard part by letting go of some things is the emotional attachment to them. If we have to get rid of any gifts, we still enjoy them for a while and appreciate the thought behind it. We also keep reminding ourselves that the love behind any gift never runs out. It lives on and on the more it is regifted. Imagine how many times it can be enjoyed instead of being forgotten in a closet. It feels really refreshing to declutter. I actually really enjoy it because it lets the home breathe and we know what's in every drawer and shelf, and it just makes the home feel so much better.
Tip number 4, keep it clean.
And sustainable. So when we feel like the walls are closing in on us a little bit, the first thing I try to do is tidy up and clean because it just makes the room feel bigger right away. We try to open the windows, let in some fresh air if we can, or at least let in as much natural light as possible. It just helps the rooms feel bigger that way. We've gotten into the habit to clean more often in our cottage because the slightest mess will affect the whole house. However, it's really nice that it takes us no time at all to clean this little cottage. And once it's done, the effect is not only the feeling that the house grew a size or two, but the great sense of gratitude and contentment.
We save a lot of money and space by using homemade cleaning solutions with ingredients we already have and use. They are not that complicated, like our cleaning spray that is made of citrus peels and vinegar. And did you know that you can dry your used tea and sprinkle them over the carpets before you vacuum them? It's an old Victorian trick that is said to lift dirt. We store ours in a little jar and I think it looks so cozy, don't you?
It smells amazing too.
And here's tip number 5. Live cozy.
And close. For us, living small means that we get to live closer together. When we first found the listing for this cottage and we reached out to the landlord, he found out that we were a couple, he told us that it's really only suited for one person or we're going to have to really love each other. And 5 years later, we're still okay. But of course, that living this small still has its challenges.
Sometimes you just wish you had an extra room because, we all need our private space once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Because it can be hard facing different deadlines and challenges in the same space as we also relax and seeking peace and quiet in. It has been a learning curve and we are lucky to have a neighboring historic cemetery and backyard wooded area to go to when we need to clear our minds in private or in pairs.
But it's a really lovely thing that we get to be so close to each other and spend so much of our time together.
I think by living so close have made it easier for us to be there for each other when we need it. And we can mostly get to the same page quicker, since we literally live in the size of a paper. So we think that this tip is the most important tip in how to save space living in a small cottage. To live close to each other. Because to live close saves more space than living spread apart.
Aww.
So thank you so much for watching. We really hope you got some inspiration from it. And feel free to leave a comment with any tip on how you live small, even if you don't live in a cottage.
If you're still curious what it's like for us living in a 100-year-old cottage next to a historic cemetery in the Sleepy Hollow countryside, then we've most likely answered your questions over in our Cottage Life Q&A video. Even after 5 years of living here, we are constantly reimagining new ways to make the space work for us without compromising our vintage aesthetic and lifestyle. So let us know if there's any different sorts of video topics you would like to see on that. So thanks so much again for watching and helping us celebrate our 5 years here at Cobweb Cottage. This home has meant so much to us and it's been so nice being able to share some of that with you.
So if you haven't already, please subscribe and join the Cozy Cottage Club and share it with a friend.
And we'll see you in another video soon. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Yay, we did it.
We did it.
That's a wrap?
That's a wrap. Should we maybe get some more tea?
Yes. But oh, look at our mess though. Should we do it now or later?
Tea first.
Tea first.
Tea
Good
first.
idea. Good idea. Tea.
For 2, and 2 for tea.
Happy anniversary, Cobweb Cottage! Cheers to 5
Cheers.
years.
And counting.
Hide it for later. Time for tea.